It's the best and worst DLCs of the year. What DSP felt were the best and worst downloadable contents that he actually played in 2014. Up next on my worst side is one that not everyone will probably agree with me, but I felt pretty strongly about. It's Infamous First Light. Now, First Light was unique to everything else in this countdown because it was a standalone DLC. You didn't actually need to keep the original Infamous Second Son game in order to play it, and I really feel like the game developers treated it as such, but unfortunately, it came out 5 months after the campaign and the release of the original game. Why is this a bad thing? Well, it's pretty simple. It features a character named Fetch, who was one of the secondary supplemental characters supporting cast of the original Second Son game. However, you only get to play as her neon powers. So if you've already played Second Son, you've experienced 4 to 5 different kinds of powers versus only 1 in this DLC. To make matters worse, Fetch has no new abilities that the main character of Second Son, Delsin, had. So you're doing the same exact repetitive gameplay, there's no originality to it, and it really feels like you're just playing 1/4 of the campaign of the original game over again, which is pretty boring. In addition, the pacing is pretty poor, and there's almost no interesting developments until the final half hour of the game, and it just ends up being really boring. I really feel that if First Light had come out as a standalone DLC, as a prequel to Second Son, maybe even released a month before Second Son, it would have built up tons of interest for it. Instead, it came out 5 months later and just felt like more of the same, boring, repetitive, and just didn't live up to its potential. So unfortunately, I didn't like it. I can't really recommend it unless you haven't played Second Son yet. Then you should play this first and then play the campaign of the main game, and you'll probably like it a lot better. However, I was disappointed. Up next on our best of side is the Whistleblower DLC, a whole new episodic adventure for last year's survival horror hit Outlast. It's no surprise that Outlast was one of my favorite games of last year, really getting the survival horror kind of vibe right. In a world now where everything's about cheap jump scares, this game really built up a lot of atmospheric horror and adventure. Being inside of this asylum really creeped me out, and especially the uniqueness of the camcorder's night vision function really made the game interesting and fun and different. The Whistleblower DLC is no exception. You now play the person who originally worked inside the asylum, saw all these crazy, horrendous things happening to the inmates, and basically sent out the message to the reporter who is the main character of the main campaign of the original Outlast game and told him to investigate these horrible things that were going on. Now, of course, because you are the one who blows the whistle, you end up basically being thrown to the wolves. The asylum goes out of control, the doctors and everyone go insane, and this DLC in fact introduces a few more unique kind of crazy, interesting characters to the mix who are stalking you throughout the stages. It's just more of the great gameplay of Outlast with some new interesting twists. It's a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. And again, continuing on from the gameplay from last year, it was a great place to pick up, and I hope that many people will check it out as well if you haven't so far. Coming up next, now this is a unique one. Both the best and worst are from the same game. Don't miss it.